have to take to the streets to demand transparency. We all know. We all know that NYPD is out of control. And we are all very clear that there needs to be a major overhaul in the New York City Police Department. Let me be very clear about something. This will not just be a moment of anger. This will not just be a hashtag. This will not just be a blip in the media. We are determined and united to be relentless for legislative and policy justice. To hear me loud and clear, we are not myopic in our journey. We expect action from our leaders. I don't want to hear no more prayers, and I don't want to hear any more condolences from the mayor and the governor. So I have a message for Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio. Use your power. Use your power. And Governor Cuomo, as we put forward this legislative package, don't you dare undermine the caucus's agenda. Sign the bill. Sign the bill. Sign the bill. And we want swift fiscal action and resources to the ground. Just the same way that you swung in and helped those when they had an opioid issue. Almost done. Mayor de Blasio, we believed in you. When you ran on the tail of two cities, you showed us your black son. You showed us your black wife. You showed us your black daughter. And we as black people voted for you because we thought you understood. But, and he originally started to speak up. But then remember this, y'all, let your memory serve you correct. The NYPD turned their backs on you. And now it seems to me the NYPD got him so tied up, he's turning his back on us. So Mayor de Blasio, while we are going to push our state agenda, we know that we are legislators of a local municipality. And so I am very aware with my colleagues here from the council that on June 18th, that anti-chokehold bill is coming forward. And you better sign it. As we march forward with this New York State police reform agenda, I urge everyone to become familiar with every piece of legislation that was laid out here today. And I There will be no arrest. There will be no rest in the streets until we get these damn bills. I'll leave y'all with this because I'm losing my voice. Don't be angry. Be activated. Don't be pissed. Be persistent. And even though at times it may seem that it's backwards, I want you to remember that the power of the people. I said the power of the people will always be greater. It will always be greater than the people in power. God bless. We just got a word here, right?
Power to the people! Power to the people! Power to the people!
Nick Perry.
Wow. I know I don't have to worry about the future. In Albany, that is. Because with legislators like Diana Richards, full of passion, and tell you something, she ain't bluffing. We are not bluffing. We are all fired up. Even me, I'm the senior member, and they tell me I'm an old guy, but I'm fired up. I'm wearing the mask so you can't see my gray beard. And I got a beret on. I wore this beret in 1970 when we were fighting to free. That's right. Under all different slogans, we were marching the streets and advocating for black lives with a different message. And after all these years, we're out here in different language, with different words, but fighting for the same thing. We want to breathe. I just left another rally up here, and driving back, I listened to Reverend Al Sharpton talk about George Floyd calling his mama with his last breath. A grown man, his mama been dead for a long time, but he called his mama. You know, black men know their mama can save them from anything. That's right. You call mama for anything at all, she's gonna make it happen. That's how he was brought up. And I know there are some mamas out here. How many mamas out here? If you got a son, a little one or a big one, you got a daughter, a little one or a grown one, you got to fight with us to make sure they can breathe. And breathing is not just inhaling and exhaling oxygen. Because sometimes they make it even hard for us to do that. That's right. With a knee on your neck, how can you breathe? With a chokehold on your neck, how can you breathe? It is our responsibility to make sure that police officers who do that don't get the honor and the privilege of wearing a badge that says New York Police Department. If you got a police officer standing there for you, look at it right now and ask him, are you here to protect me? No. Ask them, who are you here to protect? And the officer should honestly look at you and say, I'm here to protect you. But how many officers can look at you in the face and say, we're here to protect you? They got a gun, they got tasers, they got a gun, and they look at you as if they're about to attack you.
I don't see her right now, but she
all the time. You know, I did my own little survey. I was marching across the Brooklyn Bridge. And every officer I walked by, I said, good afternoon. Good afternoon, officer. Good afternoon, officer. And I smiled. And I walked the entire half of the bridge. And I did not get a smile back from a single officer. I told that to the police commander in my precinct. And I said, to him, and I know I don't look I don't look too mean. It's not a mask, but if I smile with someone, I'm used to getting a smile. If I smile with someone, I'm used to getting a smile back. That's just normal human reaction. But the fact that many of our police officers will not even look you in the eye, won't even smile back at you if you give them a smile, that's just a very bad testament to how poor they are trained. And they're not trained to live with us and work for us. They're trained to live away from us. So we got to pass that bill in Albany that require that New York City police officers live in the city of New York. Do you know that the majority of the police officers don't live in the city? So how can they be no police officers? And there are some bills now. There are bills on our agenda to get passed. And we're having problems getting a bill presented with the language that will make them meaningful. Hey, we could pass a lot of legislation that do nothing, just say something. But when you read the language, it does nothing about the problem. And we have done a lot of that in Albany, and we're not going to do it this time. And I want to get a message to the governor that our leaders cannot hide in their mansions of power. We are going to hold them accountable. Listen, the governor would not be governor without the black vote. The governor is a colonizer. The mayor would not be mayor without the black vote. So they all black America something. They all black New York or something. God damn it, sign a bill that gives us some recognition. Sign a bill that gives us some recognition.
Bills don't do nothing. Bills don't save my life.
Sign a bill that will enact a law that will allow us to be useful. We have a bill that will bring accountability to officers who shoot and kill people in the city and across the state. And we need that law so that police officers who use their guns to kill folks are accountable. So that they can be arrested, charged, and brought to justice. And that's what we're doing that for. So I ask you to make your voices be heard. We live in a government, a system of government that allow us to legislate laws. That's why you elect us. To pass laws that will allow protection for you. So I'm really pleased to see you come out here this evening to show your support and to show your disgust in what is happening. We can't breathe. I can't breathe. If my son has to be fearful about himself walking around in New York. We can't breathe. I can't breathe. We can't peacefully demonstrate on our streets without police officers feeling free to run us over with vehicles or open the doors of vehicles to knock us to the side and abuse us in so many ways. Thank you for the opportunity.
That we're going to put forth in Albany to pass so that we can reform the criminal justice system and the policing systems here in the New York State. But this is not just New York City, this is all of New York State. And we want to make sure that we are all speaking in one accord, one voice, so that this is a message that is heard loud and clear in Albany, and it happens right here in our streets. So without further ado, we're bringing our honorable Assembly Member people of New York have been carrying a heavy weight in their hearts, on their shoulders, since the news of George Floyd's murder in Minneapolis last month. We have cried, we have marched, we have rallied, and we have come together to speak. We must change the law if we want to end racism. Institutional racism is embedded in everything that we do in our society, whether it's in our schools, whether it's in our healthcare system, whether it's in our economy, whether it's in our housing, our government, our police forces. This has been an inequity that we've been dealing with for hundreds of years. As we remember George Floyd and many other black men and women who have died in the hands of law enforcement, we must honor their memory by effecting real change. My colleagues and I are here because we want to bring real change. We have a package of bills that you heard earlier to make sure what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota this month, what happened in Louisville, Kentucky in March, and what happened in Temple, Texas in December does not keep happening. All over our country, all over our state. Many of these bills have been on the table for a very long time.
You're talking bullshit. It's time to
We're
fight.
not changing here. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Prosecutor is permanent. Today we want to end racial profiling for good. We remember the victims of racial profiling. We remember Eric Garner. We remember Sandra Bland. Say their name. We remember Fernando Castro. Say their name. We remember Michael Brown. Say their name. Freddie Gray. Say their name. And many others. Emmett Till. You're right. I remember Bill. That's called Jeremiah Law because a young little boy was accused of sexually abusing a white woman.
And they still give us after that bill was passed.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try.
Trying.
That's all we
Keep trying. We gonna do.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
We are the law.
We are the law. People are the
The
law.
government don't give the people rights. The people give the government rights.
I want to make sure
Conference, we
that
came
you
in
know
and talk. They killing us.
that we are here together.
People are
As a community, more than ever. We must act now. We must pass these legislation. We must demand accountability. And we must make our community safe.
Excuse me.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
No justice?
No peace!
I can't hear you, Brooklyn. No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
I can hear you, Flatbush. No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
New York State Assemblyman Walter Mosley. And I was the prime sponsor of the seminal bill that will end chokeholds by law enforcement against those they interact with on our streets. The one thing that I want to make sure that we're perfectly clear, because my colleagues have laid out the groundworks, that just last night, as I was home, I got a call from my colleague in the Senate, Senator Brian Benjamin,
Fix the speaker.
Defund the police!
who said to me, Walter, there are members in the Senate that want to water down these bills. There are members of our colleagues, so-called Democrats, who want to water down these bills. So I want you guys to understand that we have marching orders beyond this. We have marching orders when we leave home. of INC members who call themselves Democrats, but yet you want to be against these 12 pieces of legislation.
You ain't gonna do nothing.
I'm going to ask you.
What you gonna do?
I'm going to ask you. When you go home, look up those 6 Democrats from Long Island. I'm not going to name their names.
He said, what you gonna do?
Look up.
Nigga, what you playing? What you gonna do?
Yeah.
He gonna do shit. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna do shit.
My name is New York State Assemblyman Walter Mosley from the 57th Assembly District, and I'm not going to really say too much because my colleagues have said it all. But I was sitting home last night, and I got a call from my colleague Brian Benjamin from Harlem. He is the Senate sponsor of the seminal bill that revolves around the anti-chokehold. That is the Eric Garner anti-chokehold bill. And we have to understand that there are people and principalities who are working against us. So-called Democrats who are working against this package, who want to water down these bills as we stand right here. So I want you to go home. Look up these Democrats from Long Island. Because every Democrat is not a Democrat. Everybody who says they're about the blue is not blue. Everybody who's about black people, when they're home, when they go up to Albany, they sing a different tune. So if you can't make it to Albany this week, this upcoming week, I want you to make those phone calls. I want you to make those emails. I want you to send those text messages. I want you to be on their social media pages. Understanding that all of these 12 bills will be passed next week. And when we put them on the governor's desk, they will be signed into law. Because if they are not signed into law, there are repercussions and consequences to your actions. So I ask you that if we are about Black Lives Mattering, let's make sure that those 12 bills are passed in their entirety so that we can make a difference for Black lives. Black Lives Matter.
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 Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, we're about to keep on moving, and we are going to be blessed with our assembly member, Maritza Davila, who is representing the Puerto Rican and Hispanic Task Force. What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
That's what we want. We want justice. And as the chair of the Puerto Rican Hispanic Task Force, we come in all colors. Are there any Caribbeans here? Yes. Right? I have a son that's of color. I've seen my own child be thrown on the ground and have to stand on the sidelines. I have seen my son, which is of color, be thrown on the floor. So don't tell me that what I will work. And when we are united, we are united. These people that are here, we're here to fight. We're here to fight. We're here to change laws. We're here to respect everyone. And we expect that in return. Because when we are here, giving up our own lives in this pandemic, right? Nobody's gonna come to the side about us, only but our family. So we're telling you, we are your family at this point. You will respect that Black Lives Matter. Every Black Life matters. The Puerto Rican Hispanic Task Force stands with you, and we will continue to fight together. And that's our sisters and brothers. Thank you, Richardson. Thank you, Walker. This is how we do it. Black Lives Matter.
That shit be doing, man.
We're about to move on to Assemblymember Felix Ortiz. He's one
sure that I'm gonna repeat something that someone said before me. Every single one of you that are here, listen to every single one of us, and we are gonna go back to Albany to make sure that we will be able to get this bill done. What I need you to do is to go home, use those computers, and email to every legislator and bombard the governor email to make sure that this governor finally get it. You know, every press conference, the governor say, I know what I need to do. Well, we know how we need to do it. But the problem is that this governor hasn't found a way how to really do it. So we have to make sure that we hit him on his toes. It's up to every single one of us to make sure that the governor is paying attention the same way that he's paying attention about everything that is happening in the state of New York. That he pay attention to this demonstration, that the time has come. The time has come. The time is not now. The time is long overdue. The time is long overdue. So it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace to see an 8-year-old girl to be sprayed on their face by the police department. It is a disgrace. It's coming down to an 8-year-old who is demonstrating, who is, trying to bring the peace and the love, and to make sure that she sent the message that any one of us is standing right here. And she went to advocate, express herself, and she got pushed and got spray on her face. They had to put a bunch of milk on her eyes in order to remove this disgusting spray that it got into her eyes. It is a shame to our law enforcement officers. My bill, the bill that I'm introducing is a very simple bill. I introduced this bill back in 2018. And let me just tell you how Albany works. I tell you how Albany works. Most of the legislation that we have in this package has been around for a little while. This governor only understands pressure. This governor only understands pressure. This governor finally beginning to understand that our city, our state is changing. Our city and our state is changing. And the fact of the matter is that he knows how to count, because you hear him all the time talking about numbers. Every time that he talks about numbers, we're going to send a clear message to him and say to him that the same way he knows the number, make sure that those numbers come to our education system, to our community-based organization in our community, to make sure the investment is in the right place to address the socio-economic inequality that exists in this state. He's going to blame Washington. We can all blame Washington, but he has the power to make changes if he should to do so. So let's continue to put the pressure to the governor. And my bill is for those people who think they can get away by making false reporting to the police department. Some of you remember, how many of you remember what happened in Central Park? Not too long ago. Somebody calling the police department, making false testimony, but guess what? That also happened in 2018 in Minnesota. That was when I introduced that bill, 2018. And no one was paying attention to that bill until what happened in Central Park. My dear brothers and sisters, let's keep our faith. We will overcome and we will win. Whether we need this governor or not, we will win. May God bless you.
And now we're going to get some words from Assemblymember Michelle Francis. Brothers and sisters! Black Lives Matter!
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 My name
country, based on the color of your skin, based on where you are in the racial hierarchy. And that's where these bills come in, brothers and sisters. We can't pass a law to make you love your neighbor. We can't legislate tolerance or respect or empathy. But my God, are we going to use the law to create justice that is long overdue in this country? That we can do with the law. And everybody else will have to do the hard work in their communities to work on the hearts and minds of the people who oppress us every single day. Let's pass these bills. Pass these bills. Pass these bills.
Pass these bills.
Let's pass these bills.
Pass these bills.
Thank you.
Pass these bills.
Pass these bills.
Pass these bills.
Pass these bills. We know the ones we want. We know what they're saying, and we're going to make sure that that message transfers all over. Somebody already told you we need you to send those emails, ring our phones, write those letters. Make sure everybody is as bothered as we are. Make sure our problems are their problems. Make sure nobody goes to sleep at night and didn't think about this, all right? We're going to make sure that we bring our new... no, she's not new. I'm sorry. Now we're going to bring the president of the NAACP, Brooklyn chapter, L. Joy Williams, to the mic. When I say we fight, when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight,
We win.
when we fight,
We win.
when we fight,
We win.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you 100%. The legislators behind me, they're doing their job. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? When we fight,
We win.
when we fight,
We win.
when we fight,
We win.
I'm going to be honest again. These bills aren't new. These bills aren't new.
Say that.
These bills, some of these bills have been on the Brooklyn NAACP legislative agenda for years. But we have the moment. And this is when we need to fight so we can win. When we fight,
We win.
when we fight,
We win.
when we fight.
We win.
Let me tell you something else. You are not asking anybody for no favors.
That's right.
You are not asking somebody to do something out of the kindness of their heart. You are demanding action because it is owed to you. This is our city. This is our state. This is our country. If we say we want greater accountability for law enforcement, we can demand it because when we fight, we win. When we fight,
We win.
what are you going to fight for? What are you going to fight for? What are you going to fight for?
Justice.
Now, after these bills are passed, this shit ain't over.
That's right.
If they ask, are we satisfied? What do you say? If they ask you, is that enough? What do you say?
No.
We say next, defund the police.
Let's go.
We say